And Jersey City is the epitome of what I am today. I would say that I'm somewhat of a relative personification of Jersey City, New Jersey. Jersey City is one of the most diverse cities in the country, in which you have African Americans, you have Afro-Caribbeans, you have continental Africans like Mohamed, who owns this network. You have Filipinos, you have Guyanese, whether we talk about African Guyanese or Indian Guyanese, Chinese, Filipinos, Japanese people. So Jersey City is very diverse. So being around a lot of different people, you get to have an understanding of their cultures, their socialization, their upbringings, and then from there it gives you the knowledge and the wisdom when you travel and mobilize as far as business, as far as commerce, as far as whatever you're trying to do. Can y'all hear me in the back? No doubt, no doubt. My name is Baruti Libre, Kafele, but Baruti Libre for short, the CEO of Libre brand. And Libre brand is an apparel line, it's a multimedia company, and it's a consulting firm which was founded in 2012 and we're still going strong in 2017. So it started with a vision, I would say around the fall of 2012. A vision of amalgamating a lot of what I've learned as far as African history and culture, and also putting that together with hip-hop culture as well, and also a lot of what's going on contemporaneously. So what I did was I consolidated the concepts, and since I always had a passion for apparel, what I did was start the clothing line. So it definitely was successful in the beginning. There was a lot of turbulences with it, because if you're a self-employed entrepreneur, there are a lot of turbulences. Everything doesn't go as how it should. One day it's profitable, it's viable, it's lucrative, and then the next minute things become very slow. I'm sure that all entrepreneurs could relate to that. So that's how it was with Libre brand. Things are successful and the apparel is selling itself. And we have a lot of new initiatives coming out. I have a book coming out later on this year, and hopefully I'll get a major book deal from another book coming out the following year. I have a mini documentary that's about to drop very soon. Y'all either gonna love me or hate me after I drop this. There are two ways to answer that question. We can look at it from an axiological or ethical perspective, and with bridging the gap, honestly, from an individualist standpoint as well, people are judged by their character or by their morals. Meaning that from the way I look at things, I look at good people and bad people. A lot of the time with people from one ideology, specifically within the left or even within the right, they look at the oppressed or the oppressor, or they look at the colonizer or the colonized, or they look at rich and poor. Well, the way that I look at things from my evolution and also from my metamorphosis is I look at good and bad when it comes to character, morals, rectitude, or what's nefarious. So that's how I look at things, good and bad. Now, bridging the gap between Africans from the Caribbean, Africans in America, and also continental Africa, well, the commonality is that we all come from a common denominator, the continent of Africa, black people who have been oppressed, especially during the time of perpetual servitude, slavery, racism, of course, by government, and things of that nature. So, of course, having a common struggle and having a common origin. Libertarianism is because of this. With me studying liberty or libertarianism, it's a philosophy, it's a concept, it's a lifestyle focused on individualism, focused on limited government, focused on equality of rights, equality of opportunity, focused on everyone pursuing their own respective dreams, destinies, aspirations, and inclinations, as long as it doesn't violate
the rights of another person, or as long as it doesn't violate, as we call it, the non-aggression axiom or principle. So it seems like something simple to me, because we all have natural rights, or property rights rather, whether we talk about our biological composition or whether we talk about property that we may own. And then of course with the inclusion of property that we own, specifically within real estate, there are a bundle of rights, like the right to enjoyment, the right of exclusion, etc. So when it comes to libertarianism, it's basically everyone living their own lives to the fullest, pursuing their own respective destinies and pursuing their respective preferences, as long as it doesn't violate the rights of everyone else. And that's what I stand for. That's what I advocate for, because I'm against robbery, theft, rape, murder, or things of that nature, especially when it's arbitrary or when it's imposed by a domestic criminal or foreign criminal or from government. So as far as libertarianism, I was introduced to a lot of the concepts during the summer of 2012 when I started to read about people like Frederick Hayek, Milton Friedman, and various others. And then from there, that's when I started to further explore the concepts, and now I'm officially a full-fledged libertarian, publicly rather. So I write for beinglibertarian.com. I'm a syndicated columnist, and I write for them, and I do various other things as well, revolved around the liberty movement, and that's basically it. RBG Ball was created by the New African Liberty Organization, which is the organization that I'm a part of, focused on doing what we can to contribute towards the African American population and also the African world, rather, in whichever way we can, to bring about social, political, and economic progress and advancement for the black race, and also moral rectification for the black race as well. So that's the annual ball that we have as a celebration, and we usually allocate those proceeds towards charities, towards donations, supporting and funding black businesses, things of that nature. The artists that perform, well, you had Jay Sosis, you had Lunadi, you had the Ubuntu Theory, which is a progressive group. And when I say progressive, I'm not talking about the liberals or the Democrats or people like Woodrow Wilson, Franklin Roosevelt, President Obama. Much respect to him, but I'm being honest, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about progressive artistic. So they're a progressive artistic group with very positive artistic expressions, rather. They speak about peace, they speak about conflict resolution, or should I say they entertain or rap about things of that nature. They also rap about having pride in who you are, having high self-esteem, respecting one another, most importantly having respect for oneself. So salute to the Ubuntu Theory, and they're also Afrocentric in what they do. Additionally, Khalil Gibran, very intelligent, brilliant, and talented brother. I don't know if I said talented before, but if anything, I'll say it again. Talented, brilliant, entertaining, soulful, and an eclectic brother that just make things happen. Hailing from North to North, and he did a phenomenal job. What could I say? Libre brand was formed in 2012, towards the latter part of 2012 in November, even though the concepts were coming together or becoming consolidated around the time of the summer to the fall of 2012. So with Libre brand, it's a company that has sustained itself, a company that we work hard to do. And for anyone that's an aspiring entrepreneur, you have to invest in something that you're passionate in, but it's not about just being passionate about it. You need to look at things analytically, meticulously, and pedantically. You need to make sure that what you're investing in will bring about a return on your investment in a reasonable time, depending on the budget. You need to make sure you have the right people on your team that are experts in the respective specialization, so that y'all can work synergistically, but still individually with incentives for prosperity, so that everyone can prosper. Believe it or not, Libre brand, my company, has libertarian ideals, because if you look at things etymologically, Libre means freedom, liberation. But if we look at the words liberation and also liberty, they have common origins etymologically. Of course, from Latin. So, as it relates to the brand Libre brand, the slogan is freedom of flying, meaning that you're flying to extricate yourself from anything that hinders you from achieving progress and success, whether it's negativity, whether it's low self-esteem, or whether it's government. So the Libre brand is definitely inspired by libertarian ideals, because the Libre brand was founded in the fall of 2012, and I was introduced to a lot of the libertarian ideals, concepts, and principles during the summer of 2012. So they're both definitely interconnected with one another, and they're complementary to one another. I've been an Afrocentric ever since I was born, ever since my inception. I was born, as a matter of fact, a couple of blocks from where we're specifically located in downtown Jersey City, in the medical center, which is currently a residential development. I can't think of the name, I think it's the Beacon. So I began there. I was born into an African-centered household where we took pride in our Africanity, our cultures, and I was inculcated and taught about the African contributions to civilization within science, within architecture, within medicine, within mathematics, within geometry, arithmetic, within the Judeo-Christian concepts, etc. So you could say that I was born as someone African-centered. I was born into an African-centered household. Now, don't get me wrong, all positive contributions to civilization should be lauded, should be celebrated, should be respected, and also should get utilized for the betterment of humanity. But since we live in a society of racism, of course, and also Africans were imported here, it's just that due to the struggles that we've experienced, according to the African-centered concept, it's very important to celebrate a lot of the progresses that Africans contributed to society, since a lot of the times Africans or black people are propagated as people that are buffoons, people that are ignorant, people that are indulge in criminality and various other negativity. So with me growing up in an African-centered household, I was infused with that pride, with that confidence, and with that self-esteem of my phenotype and also my ethnicity because of the contributions that have been made and what I have the potential to do. But don't get me wrong though, I don't judge people based on merely their ethnicity. People should get judged by their character, because someone could be of the same ethnicity as me but may not have my best interests or the best interests of himself or even everyone else at heart. Meaning that morality is how you should judge someone, but Afrocentricity is basically me having pride in who I am, because my ethnicity is a part of who I am, especially in a racially oriented society like this one. Liberty is a priority. Everyone should have their liberties, because liberty includes natural rights of life, liberty, and property. Those are natural rights that we're all born with. And whenever they're violated, then that's criminal, that's unscrupulous, that's repugnant, that's evil, that's sinister, and it's just bad. Any synonym for bad, that's what it is. So it's extremely important.